Okay, this is the 350 that we had, just got back from the machine shop. I cleaned it up last night, got some soapy water, cleaned it up with some engine degreaser and some brake clean, get all the grease and gunk out of it. Just, got the power washed it and dried it as best I could with the air compressor. That's my little air compressor over there. And matched it. I used this paint to do it with. I used Duplicolor and the rattle can. I used the engine primer to do a couple light coats on the engine primer, and then I used the Duplicolor orange for the Chevy orange. So that's your part number for the paint, and I think it turned out really good. So shout out to Duplicolor. I know a lot of people want to use those high-end paints for the with the paint gun. I don't really think you need it. I think this paint turned out really good. I think it was a really high gloss. So I did two coats of the primer, and then probably 3 coats with the orange paint. I let it, kind of tack dry, and then I followed it back up with a couple more coats. So did that last night. I did one more coat before I went to work this morning. So I'm gonna take all this off and we'll see what it looks like. All right, here it is. Finally got it painted. Again, the board's got a little bit of flash that tried to come in, but I can clean that up. It's no problem. I got it sprayed down with WD-40. I'm gonna go over and scrape some of the areas where the paint kind of bled over, but I think it turned out really well. I think this was a really bright orange. I can't wait to get the oil pan and everything else painted up. So again, this is part of the project, so pretty soon we'll be going into that. So like I said, man, if you guys, I highly recommend this Duplicolor orange, Chevy orange, and then the primer, 2 coats of primer, and then 3 total coats of engine paint and primer. Well, 2 coats of primer and 3 coats of paint, and I think it turned out pretty good. Turned out really good. All right, guys. All right, this is our time to install the crankshaft. So I've got my crankshaft kit over there. We're going to install this regular crank. We're just going to put it in. It's a remanufactured crank with undersized bearings. We're going to go ahead and install it today. We just going to go through and clean up the cylinder walls. You can see there's a little grit in there, a little flash rust. I'm going to get some transmission fluid, kind of wipe it out, get as clean as we possibly can. Then we'll turn around and do the same thing with the bearing areas. I got the 2-piece remain. We'll put that in there, and we'll get our crankshaft installed. All right, so now we are going to install our camshaft. I got one of the Jeg camshaft, the one of the house brand cams. These are kind of the specifics. I don't know if you can see it. So it's not too much of a high lift cam. It's good enough for the stock valves. It's got a 465 lift on both the intake and exhaust. Where's the duration? So this is for the 1.5 rocker. So stock rockers with a 109-degree lobe separation center for the intake and exhaust, and duration of 224, and 0.5 on the cam timing. So not an aggressive camshaft. Again, one of the house cams from Jeg. So we're gonna get that installed. I'm gonna go ahead and spray it down, clean it up, get some of the pre-lube off of it, check it for any flash rust because it sat in the box for a while. So we're gonna go ahead and install it in our 350. So we're gonna do that right now. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clean the cam bearings. I'm gonna spray some of this brake clean on it, just a little bit on the shop towel. And I'll just go ahead and show you how much dirt and goop is on these cam bearings. I'm just gonna run my finger in here just on the inside of this cam bearings to get all the dirt and goop from the machine shop. And that's just what I wiped out just a little bit. So imperative to clean the cam bearings. So I'm not gonna show you guys me clean the cam bearings, but you can kind of see. I'm gonna do just one more. I'm gonna wipe the inside, just so you can get a general idea. And that's just what granted, it just ripped. But I'm gonna use this right here kind of just run on the inside of the cam bearing. And that's what comes from the machine shop. So get some brake clean, wipe it out as best you can, because that's what your cam bearings will look like when you get them from the machine shop. So I'm just gonna get some brake clean and wipe these cam bearings out before I get them installed. Okay, so now it's time for us to install our camshaft. So got the camshaft cleaned, I got some brake clean, cleaned all of the shipping protecting off of it. There's a lot of protecting. I also went in and cleaned the cam bearings. Took me a little time to get them clean to the point where there was no more goop on it. So this is the lube that came with the camshaft. So this is camshaft assembly lube that comes from the came with the shaft. So we're going to use that. We're going to coat the journals. We'll coat the journals, then we'll coat the gears. We'll also get the journals. Then I'll come back, and as long as I have enough, I'll put some on the cam lobes. I also bought a tube of assembly lube. So we're going to go ahead and install the camshaft. Alright, so now it's time to put the crankshaft in. I got my son here helping me out. So we're going to go ahead and clean the journals, make sure all the oil and stuff is cleaned out because it has to be dry. Then we're going to install the upper bearings, which is the one that goes to the block. And we're going to plastic gauge, make sure we got our clearance between 2000s and 3000s. So we're going to do that right now. Alright, so now I'm going to install the crankshaft. So we're doing that right now. Being careful not to nick the bearings. The bearings are dry. Go ahead and lay it in there. Notice I didn't spin it. Because now what I got to do is I'm going to use my plastic gauge to check my bearing clearances. Alright, we're going to go ahead and do the plastic gauge. We're going to go ahead and run this down. I'm going to do 3 torques. Philip's already put the caps in. We got the plastic gauge in, so I'm going to run those down. 3 torques of 25, 45, and 70 foot-pounds. So I'm looking for my extension. What's that?
I put this over there.
Hold on, right here. Hold that for me. All right, that's 70. Now we're gonna check our plastic gauge and see what it looks like. Okay, before you do that, check our measurement. That's right about 2 thousandths. It's right about 2 thousandths. So we're looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. So that one worked out good. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna check the other ones and make sure that they're good. I'm just gonna wipe this off, and then we'll be good to go. All right. So Philip is doing the final torque. We did 3 sequences where we did a 25 to 45. Now he's adjusting his torque wrench to 70 foot-pounds of torque. I'm checking it. Yep, that's on 70. So we checked all of the specs, so you can kind of see. We already checked the plastic gauge, got the plastic gauge paper, and everything seemed to be within spec. I'm a little concerned about that one, but it's okay. That one was in spec as well, and the main cap was in spec. So we're gonna run with these. Like I said, I don't have a high-speed, low-drag calipers and dial bore gauges and all that stuff. We're just going to go with plastic gauge. This was within spec for what we're going to be doing. We're not going to be racing, so we're going to stick with this. Our crank looks pretty good. We're going to clean up the journals. We're going to take the crank back out. We're going to lube it up, and then we're going to tighten our caps down and check for binding, and we should be good. All right, we're going to go ahead and torque everything down. We check the clearances, everything's good. We went ahead and lubed up the bearings, both the upper and lower bearings, with assembly lube. We're using the Stay Lube. We're using Stay Lube assembly lube. Just picked it up from a local auto parts store. So I know some people get wrapped around the axle about certain kind of assembly lube, but at this point it's moly graphite. So as long as you got moly graphite, you're good to go. So got that in there. We're going to do the 3-stage torque. I'm going to run these down with my drill. I got it on no impact, so I don't have to worry about it over torquing. So I'm just going to run them down. Now I'm going to check the rotation, make sure there's no binding. It's a nice smooth turn, so I don't feel anything grabbing. This is a good spin. So everything's in there properly. Now if I was feeling a bind or a scrub, that means that something's wrong. So all the bearings are put in right, all the caps in the right direction. I did do the 2-piece remain seal where I had about a 1/4 of an inch sticking out on each side, so that when it goes in, it'll kind of squish. I put some seal on each end of the bearing to make sure of the seal, some gasket sealer on each end of the bearing, as well as the edges of the cap. So I put some on this edge, that edge, on the top and the bottom, and then on both sides of the rear main, the 2-piece rear main seal. So that should be good. I shouldn't have to worry about any leaks. So I'm gonna go bump this to 45 foot-pounds, and then Philip, I'm gonna let you do 70. I'm gonna check again for binding. Okay, it's moving real smooth. Throws look like it's, like I said, got everything lubed up, so the bearings got plenty of assembly lube. Now the final one, we're gonna go to 70. We're gonna go ahead and spin it, see how it spins. Just feel like it's binding, kind of moving smooth. Yeah. Okay. So that is the installation of our cam and crankshaft. We're gonna do the, so as you can see over here, I got bit by the 062 cylinder head bug. So the two on the right over here, these are the original ones I had. Only one of them's good. The other one, guess what, has a crack in it. And then I picked up these other two, came off a 2000 Cadillac Escalade. So those are 062. Yes, I think one of them might be bad. I only paid $60 for both of them. I had to pull them off the pick and pull. And so these had already magnafluxed. That's how I found the crack. So I'm gonna take these to the machine shop, have them check it. If I can get at least one of these two good, then that one's gonna go, and then one of these two will be my set of 062 Vortex heads I'm gonna put on this 60 board 60 over small block. So I'm thinking I'm gonna try to get at least 350 horsepower this thing, if I play my cards right. So appreciate you guys for checking it out, and we'll come back and update you on the rest of the build. I'm waiting on my rings, so we'll put the pistons in sometime this week.